Hello everyone, welcome to the channel of MeteoMark Weather. It's great to have you here with me. We are talking about that massive surge of tropical moisture across Central America here, especially Honduras, north coast of Honduras over to Belize over the next couple days. Will we see any more tropical waves or are we finally done? I'll take a look at all the tropics here for you. And could we see the season's first major East Coast storm come together come the middle of next week for some wintry precipitation? And could this be a major snowstorm in the making as each model run brings these low pressure systems further south and east? Let's get into it. All right, so let's start off with the tropics here to all my tropical friends down here in the Caribbean, Central America. Hope everything is going well. Well, Honduras, especially the north coast of Honduras, it's been a rough go these past couple weeks. And unfortunately, we got some more rain propagating through as we head through Friday early afternoon. You can see, if we zoom in right into Honduras here, even up to Jamaica. Don't want to leave you out here in Jamaica. Look at these showers and thunder showers around your area, Cayman Islands as well. But here's Honduras. Yeah, we have tremendous heavy rain, and I'll go over those rainfall amounts momentarily with you. But as we continue towards the west here, towards Saturday into Sunday, you can see that rain just kind of billowing and stalling. So unfortunately, yes, this system is a very weak system, but it's got a lot of moisture with it. And you'll continue to get these showers from Jamaica all the way over to Honduras, Costa Rica getting some very heavy rain too as we get into next week. And look at this, another area of problems as we get into the 10th, more surge of tropical moisture from Costa Rica here, Nicaragua up to Honduras, even all the way down to Panama here. And look at that. What is this? So this is what I want to talk to you about. This is what could end the tropical season completely for us. Not that I don't think we're really going to have many more shots at named storms here, but look at this massive trough that extends from the U.S. East Coast here all the way down to the Yucatan Peninsula. This is a massive front, and I'll show you this momentarily on the mid-layer dry air analysis. But look at that. It blasts southward here, and it kind of gets hung up here. You get these areas of low pressure, but unfortunately, there's more rain for Honduras, Belize, and the Yucatan Peninsula here as we get towards the middle of the month, the 13th into the 14th. And what is this little feature up here? It does look pretty potent. We do have a blocking high up here off the U.S. East Coast. Still no sign of what we saw a couple days ago show up on the GFS out here into the Eastern Caribbean. That's great news. So could we have something subtropical form in the Eastern Gulf? It's not likely at this stage of the game, but we'll keep an eye on it here. But look at this. As we get these easterly trade winds, this is going to be the problem, especially in Eastern Jamaica. And then the north coast of Honduras and South Belize here, and even the island of Hispaniola. There's going to be these air trouble spots where we get the rain just focusing and funneling. And that's going to continue. So that's going to be the big problem. Now, if you watch, the GFS kind of kicked the can down the road and has this big tropical wave east of the Lesser Antilles by about the time of December 21st here. Going over to our European run here, you can see, yeah, there's a little bit of a frontal boundary here. I know some of you said in Jamaica, you got some gale force winds that came through with this system. There's that rain continuing across Jamaica, Honduras, even Hispaniola over here. And the European model is just showing that persistent rain across northern Honduras in particular, the northern coastline, as well as Jamaica. So these easterly winds are just going to continue to focus this moisture. And unfortunately, there doesn't appear to be any end in sight. Look at over towards Trinidad, Tobago here, the Lesser Antilles chain. You're also going to be getting some showers as we continue to go through time. Look at this. Into Sunday and into Monday, we actually have an area of low pressure that's trying to close off here around northwestern part of Colombia here in northwestern South America. So that is a development we'll have to keep a close watch on because that could mean further tropical surge of moisture across Central America from Costa Rica here, Nicaragua, Honduras. Continued rains here, especially in northeastern part of Jamaica, where I know many of you said Portland Parish is really getting hit hard with mudslides, as well as torrential rains, all kinds of issues here as we continue to go out in time. So unfortunately, a bad situation. We do see a tropical wave over here towards Trinidad and Tobago as we get towards 7 a.m. on December 11th. And thanks to Tropical Tidbits here for our mid-layer dry air analysis. You can see there's a lot of dry air. Well, actually, it would help if we actually went back to the beginning. Here we go. So there is our moist layer across Honduras. A lot of dry air coming in from the north and from the east. Don't let that fool you, though, because there are areas of tropical moisture that are getting caught up there. Honduras, as we continue through Saturday into Sunday, unfortunately. There may be some glimmers of hope here, especially for northeastern Jamaica with the dry air, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico. But look at this. There is glimmers of precipitation as well. Now, it's interesting. This is the European model, so there's a lot of dry air around until we get to the middle of next week. That's that major East Coast storm that really tries to kick in here, which I'm going to talk about in just a few moments. So stay tuned for that. But look at that dry air really overtaking the Caribbean. And hopping right over to the GFS there's Honduras. There's some dry air coming in from the east, so that is some hope. Unfortunately, the GFS is more pessimistic with some of these moisture plumes, and you can see you got to watch these easterly trade winds. They just keep bringing the moisture in, and that's what's going to be happening. Now, next week, Jamaica, it looks like the precip really does start to try to cut off, but for Central America here, we're really pummeling that. And you're also going to get stuff down from the north as well. Now, there is that feature showing up to the northeast of the Lesser Antilles. We'll have to keep an eye on that, see if that becomes an extra tropical. And there's that feature into the Gulf as we head through this 15th into the 16th. We'll have to keep an eye onto that because that looks like it could feed into an East Coast system right around the 16th into the 17th. And here on our European model across the Caribbean and Central America, unfortunately, I have more bad news for Honduras in particular here, the north coast into extreme southern Belize, maybe even into northeastern Guatemala as well. 150 to close to 250 millimeters. Let's get our analysis tool out here. And yeah, there it is. You can see a lot of 190s, 260s. Yeah, so you get the idea. This is going to be bad news all the way down the east coast of Nicaragua and Costa Rica here as well. Now, right over here to Jamaica, this is another concern, 116 millimeters. Yeah, these areas are not looking good here over towards Portland Parish here and Jamaica. And there are eastern Cuba, parts of Hispaniola, Turks and Caicos. You'll be getting some rainfall as well. Let's flip over to the GFS and go out a little bit further through the middle of the month, right around the 21st, actually. Let's get out our little tool here. Look at this. Close to 300 plus millimeters here along the north coast of Honduras. This is getting dangerous. This is right up towards, say, beyond like 8 to 15 inches of rain here. This is really bad news. And unfortunately here, there's that Portland Parish there in northeastern Jamaica. I know a lot of you have mentioned this in the comments. 200 millimeters of rainfall. So we're going to be getting up towards that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 inch range. And going to the Eastern Caribbean here. Wow, look at what those trade winds are bringing. And you can see those just lining up. Yeah, as we go all the way through the middle of the month, look what we're going to be looking at here across the central and southern Lesser Antilles. 100 to 150 millimeters. That'll get you up towards 3 to 5 inches pretty easily. And then over towards Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico here, some of these areas could get upwards of 150 to 200 millimeters. That'll get you up easily towards that 5 to 8 inch range. All right, so look at the GFS here. And then I'll show you the European model momentarily. But as we go in time, of course, things get warmer over the weekend here after our future radar here. The first system is going to be rain. So we get into the 9th here. We're getting into Monday. Don't let this fool you. This is rain. So yeah, warmer temperatures are on the way. Now watch what happens. This moves to the east. So yeah, that's a rain event from Cleveland, Buffalo, Harrisburg, Binghamton, Albany area. That moves to the northeast. We get some overrunning precipitation up here into parts of northern New York. That low moves out to sea without much fanfare. Now watch what starts to come together here. This is the really interesting thing. We got some tropical moisture feeding up from the Gulf. We have a strung out area of low pressure starting to develop. That's going to bring some heavy snow on the north side breaking out around the first low pressure system. So there's the first part of the energy. And watch this area down and through here, because this is where our second area of low pressure is going to start to form. And you can see it really starting to conglomerate there. This could pull some cold air and snow down into eastern part of Tennessee, all the way into North Georgia, eastern Kentucky. Look at these white areas. This is where the heavy snow is. So you have this low pressure system. Each run, it goes a little bit further to the south and the east. We still have a main low up here bringing rain up here into the interior northeast, but this is 4 p.m. on December 11th. Now watch what starts to happen here. This low pressure starts to pivot towards the coastline here, and massive snowfall happening in interior parts of Pennsylvania and New York. So this is a trend we're going to have to keep a close watch on. Each day, this is a back and forth scenario, so there's going to be a lot of bouncing around with the models, but there it is, 1 a.m. on 4 a.m. December 12th. So yeah, the GFS is indicating it is a pretty fast mover, but on the upper air charts, there is blocking to the northeast, so that's going to be interesting to see if that actually slows things down. Here's that massive high kind of retreating over to the east, and if we kind of go up here, yeah, there's a massive high up here in Greenland, so we'll have to keep an eye on the placement of these high-pressure systems. All right, now let's show you the European model here on our potential snowstorm come midweek. So here it is with this model run. So we have an initial shot up here of precipitation early next week, and then we start to get this low pressure really starting to try to develop here across the southeast. And that is where we do start to get low pressure. We have an initial one up here that's weak up here in the northeast, and then this trailing front with low pressure starting to develop along it. Now, we do lose our precipitation feed, unfortunately, on this solution for the most part, but you can see where this low is going to be tracking. It is right up just west of the I-95 corridor. So could that mean an even colder solution here for the European model? All right, so let's line up these snowfall amounts. Yeah, we got some lake effect here. I'll be zooming in on it momentarily. Look at southern Canada up there as we head into early next week. Lots of snow. But watch Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, next week, coming out of the Ohio Valley into the northeast. Look at that. We could be seeing a significant snowstorm lining up here for parts of the Ohio Valley into parts of the interior northeast. So watch out. This could be a rain to snow situation. So here is the European model come the middle of next week. So yeah, this run is kind of lost a lot of the snowfall inland here, but look at up here across parts of the interior northeast. The European models kind of shoved this a little bit further to the northwest, so to speak. And here's the European zoomed in on the northeast. There's that initial shot of lake effect, lake enhancement, but here we go into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. There it is, an interior snowstorm that's lining up more likely here than with the GFS, whereas the European yesterday and earlier in the day was a little bit colder and further south and east. Zooming in using our GFS model, you can see, yeah, there's what's left to the lake effect, additional 7 to potentially 14 inches here, Tug Hill in New York, upwards of 16. Get that weekend system up here in the North Country. Look at this, though. This comes in fast and furious. Here's Wednesday, midday. Look at that, dropping 6 inches, close to 7 inches on Cleveland. And it's hard to tell with Erie because this includes the lake effect that fell. But look at this. You get the idea. Almost 1 inch to Binghamton to 10 inches by Thursday morning of next week. So you get the idea. This could be a big changeover to heavy, wet snow. I do caution you, though, the European model isn't quite on board with this scenario just yet. All right, so you know I always like to look at this product in the wintertime. There's that trough along the East Coast, way up here at 500 millibars. So this is all the atmospheric rivers upstairs. Really gives us a pinpoint of what's going on. Well, you do start to see that blocking up here in Greenland here. So yeah, unfortunately for you snow lovers across the east, this does start to bring that ridge back in. Now, this is around December 10th into the 11th, so this is getting towards the middle of next week. That could be that potential snowstorm that may wrap up on the backside of this massive low-pressure system. And let's just take a look at the GFS here. There's that trough lifting out, ridge building in over the weekend, just like the European model shows. There is that trough really kicking across the Midwest into as far as the deep south here. We'll have to see if the European really brings in the cold air on the backside of this, but look at the blocking starting into northeastern part of North America. But unfortunately for you snow lovers, look what starts to happen around the 17th, 18th, all the way through Christmas week. A massive ridge really starts to build across eastern North America. And we have some snow photos here. Derek Rentschler from Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. He got some snow here in this part of Pennsylvania. Nice captures here. Look at that. It looks like a little bit of a slushy, icy type of snow there accumulating on the surfaces like pavement and such, and visibility is reduced as well. And look at that. Even the grassy surfaces really coming down pretty fast and furious here. A very wet snow to be had here, but watch out. You know, it covers the roadways. It can get kind of like that slippery snow. So nice captures there, Derek. And before we continue with more weather coverage, don't forget, if you haven't watched my winter 2024-2025 Outlook, there is a link in the description down below of this video taking you to it, as well as at the end of this video. So if you want to watch what I think is going to happen this winter, who will see the most snow and all that conditions cold, take a look at that. Also, if you've made it this far in the video and you like it, smash that like button, everyone. It really does help. Question or comment down below. I love to read your questions or comments. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe, bell notification button so you're alerted with all my future weather video updates. Let's continue. So taking a look at our future radar here. Yeah, we had quite a windy and blasting snow time of it. Erie County, Pennsylvania actually going under a blizzard warning for the next day or so. And that is going to be with the connection we have up here off the upper Great Lakes. You see we have two distinct connections here, one over Erie and one over the north side of Buffalo. Snow showers continuing across upstate New York as well. A few around Cleveland, southward here, especially inland towards Akron as well. So this is towards 11 p.m. We get into the overnight hours. You can see those bands really focusing their energy here, especially on Erie County and McKean County, northwest Pennsylvania. This is where the totals are going to rack up, I think, well over 20 inches with wind gusts well over 50 and 60 miles an hour. And these bands kind of lining up across the Finger Lakes of upstate New York as well. So those we'll have to continue to watch here as we go into Friday morning. They start to pivot a little bit more towards the northeast here. Still Erie, Pennsylvania getting hit. You're the prime target here. But as we continue through this Friday afternoon into the evening, you do start to get more of a southwesterly flow here. So northeast Cleveland up to Erie. Erie just continuing to get pummeled whatever way the wind is blowing here. And then maybe into South Buffalo here, suburbs as well. And then we kick off this area across North Syracuse here up towards Oswego County and north of Utica here. We could be talking about some hefty snow accumulations overnight, Friday night into Saturday. We get a little bit of a system that moves through there, a little bit of a west-northwesterly flow. And then as we continue throughout the weekend, we get a big warming trend. This is actually a warm front that's going to be pushing through the area. So behind it, as we get into Sunday, here's Saturday at 10 p.m. Yeah, beyond this, we could see some bursts of heavier snow Saturday night along the I-81 corridor, but that's going to be a fading memory because the warm air overtakes all of this. And let's take a look at our mesoscale model. This will be for our lake effect snow. This is what I'm kind of in line with. Erie, Pennsylvania is going to be the big bullseye here. McKean County over towards western Warren County. Cattaraugus and Chautauqua counties here as well in southwestern and southwestern New York. Easily could get another 6 to 14 inches. And then up here north of Syracuse into Oswego County and Lewis County and Oneida County, could see upwards of 6 to as much as 12 inches. Liquid equivalent precipitation here on our European model, you can see. Yeah, as we head all the way through the middle of next week, you can see where the heaviest precipitation will fall, the Gulf Coast, even into parts of eastern Carolinas here where you do need the rain. And look it up here into the Ohio Valley into the northeast. That's that middle of next week system that could dump 1 to as much as 1.5 inches of liquid. Some of that on the backside could be snow. And here's our GFS run of liquid equivalent precipitation going really crazy next week with the run all the way into the Northeast. Look at these red areas, 2 to 2.5, 3 inches in some areas of liquid equivalent. So looking at our Canadian weather forecast, yeah, we have a big storm over here in just northeast of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia area. We're teetering right on that rain-snow line. We'll go over those snowfall amounts momentarily, but that system's going to be blasting up here Friday into Friday night into the Canadian Maritime. So let's just zoom out here. I can show you this Pacific system out here. Western British Columbia getting those mountain snow valley rains. And look at this, as we continue into the weekend, into early next week, we do have a little weak clipper across southern Ontario and Quebec that could bring some snow showers across the area. And then out here in British Columbia, we're remaining active. But that piece of energy from the west makes it into Winnipeg, over to Dryden here, and southern Manitoba, southwestern Ontario here. So more snow shower potential as we head into December 9th, into the 10th and the 11th. We do start to see more in the way of heavy snow across southern Quebec and Ontario, and right out here along the west coast of British Columbia as well. We'll be watching for that prospect. But look at the central prairies here, looking very quiet. There's that system in the east here that'll be coming from the United States that I talked about. That could spread some very heavy snow across Quebec here. That is a development we'll have to keep a very close watch on. A Pacific system really plows inward here towards parts of British Columbia. And then conditions start to get quieter across the east, except this system over near Newfoundland here towards December 15th. We may have quite a bomb blasting up to this region, but little clipper bringing some snow showers across the prairies here into the northern part of Ontario. And then look at this. As we head towards the middle part of the month, here through the 18th, the 19th, the 20th, things look a little bit more quieter until we get to the 21st, where we get a lot of snowfall showing up across Quebec. And let's take a look at our Canadian liquid equivalent precipitation here as we head all the way through the middle of next week, right around the 11th. Yeah, the west coast up towards 90 to 100 millimeters, and then southeast Canada, widespread 45 to 60 millimeter amounts there, getting you up towards closer to that 3/4 inches. And if we take a look at snowfall here for Canada, here on the European run, look at that along the southern border here of Canada in particular. 15 to as much as 30 centimeters in some of these areas. So lots of snow. Will be building up quite a snowpack, and especially in these purple zones that are above that 15 centimeter range. So getting several inches of heavy wet snow. I wanted to flip over to the GFS and show you going further out into the middle of the month. Look how much snow Canada could be building up here as far as a snowpack, all the way down to the border here as well. And look at the west coast. Yeah, this could mean something big for this winter. I also wanted to touch on the tsunami warning that went into effect in Northern California and Oregon today, well, December 5th, that would be. And yeah, there was quite a scare for a bit there. Thankfully, there was no tsunami. But these things you just never know with. And here was the epicenter. It was just off the coast of Eureka here. So here's San Francisco down here, Oakland, and then up the coastline here. So it was just about 50 miles off the coastline here. So it wasn't like, I mean, it was a 7 point something here. So it wasn't like massive for California standards, but it was pretty big. And this has been one of the bigger ones in quite some time. And you could always have to take these seriously because it could have caused some major, tsunami action here along the coast. Thankfully, it didn't. But that's what we have going on here. We'll have to see if any more of these crop up, because sometimes you can have aftershocks with these things. And if we just take a look, see if there's any more. Yeah, there was the epicenter right there off the coastline. So there was the. If we take a look at this map here, this was the biggest impact right here. So right in this region, just south of Eureka, and north obviously north of San Francisco. So there you have it. A little interesting tidbits here on our tsunami, our earthquake-triggered tsunami warning event. All right, across the Western Pacific, is there anything going on? Well, actually, you know what? There's not a whole lot to talk about, which is good. However, there are a few areas to watch. The Intertropical Convergence Zone, here's the Philippines here, is starting to heat up a little bit as we head into the weekend. Some of these waves could bring quite a punch to the southern and central Philippines. This is the 8th, by the way. Look at these two features here. Gonna have to watch. Actually, there's 3 over by the Federated States of Micronesia over here. So there's gonna be some problems here as we continue into next week. Now, let's just see how bad these systems are. It doesn't look like there's any major development, but a lot of rain is going to come to the southern and central Philippines. And look at these. These systems just keep lining up here through the middle of the month. And it's important to note as you continue through wintertime here, typhoon season never truly ends here across the Western Pacific. So yeah, this system in particular, as we head towards the 16th, this could try to develop into a tropical storm or maybe even a typhoon at this point. But look at this. This surge of tropical moisture, that's just going to continue around the Philippines all the way through the 21st. All right, so let's take a look at our precipitation here across the Western Pacific here. The Philippines and Vietnam in particular, look at this. 250 to 350 millimeters. We're going to be eclipsing, 10, 15 inches in some of these areas as well as Vietnam. So that surge of the Intertropical Convergence Zone coming out of the east. And before we continue with more weather, check out these awesome, amazing maps that you won't find anywhere else.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, let's take a look at temperatures here. Yeah, Friday. Winter is entrained here across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, even into the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. 20s and 30s, but look at this warming trend behind it here. As we get into Saturday, it's going to be very pronounced. Look at that, 60s all the way up to South Dakota, parts of southeastern Montana. That is insane for this time of year. We're going to erode this colder air here from wintertime. That's going to be going bye-bye up here into parts of Maine. Look at that. Pretty much gone by this point, and you're surging these 40s and 50s from the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic region. As we head into Monday, December 9th, it is not going to be feeling very festive for, leading up to Christmas here. We're just talking about 50s all the way up to Cleveland and Erie, Pittsburgh area, Harrisburg. Lots and lots of warm air. Now, you do start to see the seesaw start here. Look at this massive cold blast coming in behind it here. Although by winter standards, this really isn't that big of a cold blast. You can see Tuesday, December 10th. Look what's going on here. We got teens up here into parts of Minnesota. Look at this, 50s and even some 60s into parts of the Mid-Atlantic. That is crazy. Into Wednesday, December 11th. Look at this. We're holding on to some warmth along the East Coast here, the I-95 corridor. But look what's trying to blast in behind it here. Would not be surprised if this pivots and then we get a colder end of next week. Extended forecast from our hometown viewers. Binghamton is great in Upper Susquehanna River Valley, New York and Pennsylvania. Look at this. we're actually going to start to clear things out. We just have Friday. It's going to be very windy and blustery, continuing maybe a few snow showers early afternoon. But other than that, we'll make it up towards 30 or so. Friday night into Saturday, we slacken those winds off a bit. Look at this. We're up in the mid-30s by Saturday, and then Sunday, we're in the mid to upper 40s. For Monday, showers and rain moves through as we're pushing near 50 degrees, as well as Tuesday, as a massive warming trend and a rainy period take place. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button.